How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and today I wanted to share my honest opinions about the MK11 stress test. So first up, let's start with the important stuff that was mainly being tested, and that's how the gameplay felt overall online. So for the most part, there was almost no input lag, which is fantastic. I'm gonna be honest, I'm still a bit scarred from Mortal Kombat X and how that started off, because my god, there was like a full second delay between when you pressed that button and when the attack came out. And the combo still looked smooth, the gameplay always looked smooth, but it was always about a full second behind when the game first came out, and thankfully Mortal Kombat 11 does not have even a hint of that. The gameplay felt very smooth, I never felt like my attacks weren't coming out at the right time. The only issue that I did have every now and then is that there would be sudden lag spikes, and sometimes the matches would also drop as well, but from what a couple of friends have told me, that's likely because I was playing on Wi-Fi. They were both playing on wired connections, and I have a wired connection too, but I wanted to try Wi-Fi just to get a good contrast between how it might differ. And once again, according to my friends, these lag spikes were likely only because I was playing on Wi-Fi. They had pretty smooth matches overall. And last but not least, those dropped matches could have also been rage quits. That's completely possible. Now, aside from the actual matches, the game was also very quick to find battles for you, so I never had to wait for an opponent ever, and that's leaps and bounds ahead of how Soul Calibur 6 was, or even Dead or Alive 6. I found matches almost immediately. I never had to wait more than a minute for a fight. It was very fast, very quick, very efficient. The only issue I did have is it would sometimes match me with the same person over and over again, and they would keep declining. However, I do imagine when the game finally comes out, you'll have an option to turn off repeat matches, or at least I hope so. And then of course, if you're playing ranked matches, you'll likely never have to deal with that because it'll pair you up based on ability. And that's honestly about it for the servers and how the game felt online. So next I want to talk about the gameplay in general, because unlike the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal event, I had a lot more time to play the game this time around and got a much better understanding of it. So first up, the flow of combat feels very smooth. I love the range on the attacks. It feels like you're always being hit or the one hitting the opponent. There's not very much dead air most of the time, and I also really like the meter system for Mortal Kombat 11, especially with how it pertains to pressure. So if your opponent does 2 wake up attacks in a row, they can no longer do any wake up attacks for a pretty good amount of time. And if they also try to escape your combo, they also lose access to those wake up attacks. So as long as your Oki pressure is good, the opponent actually is forced to block you as they're getting up. And this of course allows you to go for a lot more mix-ups, which I really do appreciate. I love a game where I can knock down the opponent and then confidently pressure them on wake up. But if they do have meter, they can basically escape for free if you're not careful, because those wake up attacks do have invincibility. And as for escaping combos, it's not a combo breaker per se. It does not knock you away. It keeps you very close, and in fact, if your attack has a lot of recovery, the opponent might actually have time to wake up after escaping the combo and hit you for a full combo. And unlike Maximilian, I actually do like this aspect of the game. I like how if I pick and choose the right time to drop out of the combo, I can whiff punish for a big amount of damage. Now, of course, you never want to be on the receiving end of this, but thankfully, once you do spend all 2 bars of your defense, it recovers very, very slowly, which means no more wake ups for the opponent and no more escaping combos for a good while. So as far as the meter system goes in Mortal Kombat 11, I really like it. I think the only thing I would change, if anything at all, is I want the offensive meter to build a little bit quicker, because if you do any sort of stylish combo that requires 2 bars, then you have to wait a very long time for that meter to come back, which means your combos go back to being very, very basic. So if the offensive meter did build a slight bit faster, I'd be okay with that. Now next up, I wanted to talk about the characters. Now we only have access to 3 in the beta, but it did look like you had access to every attack option for each character. So when you customized the character, every single thing was on the menu. You could order whatever you want to, baby. Now sadly for Scarlet, it didn't really seem to matter much. She had 3 main abilities that were obviously the best, and I don't see why you'd use anything else. So she has the teleport, she has the parry, and she has the cell siphon, which pulls them in, and if she enhances it, she gets health back. And outside of those 3 moves, everything else was pretty much just some way to end the combo differently, or maybe you had a low attack that could catch the opponent off guard from a distance, but honestly they have no reason to block high because there's no overheads from that distance, so it's not really a mix-up at all. So sadly, it seems like Scarlet has the least interesting things when it comes to customization, because she has the 3 main abilities, and I don't see why you would use anything else at the moment. Now of course they could change any number of things when the game finally comes out. Maybe she'll have some way to extend combat combos, that's what I really want to see for Scarlet. I want at least one special move that when you spin bar, lets you extend the combo for a bit more damage. Mainly because Scarlet only has one real combo starter from mid-screen, and that's her 2-1-2. In the corner she has a couple more options, but from mid-screen she only has one combo starter and it's a bit unsafe. And you can hit confirm it to be sure, but it just feels a bit bland. I'd like to see her have a bit more options from mid-screen when it comes to combo extension. So next up, let's talk about Baraka. Now Baraka sadly had to pick between mix-ups or combos. He never really got to have both. He's definitely more of a footsie based character. He's very good at whiff punishing, he has good range on a lot of his stuff and they're very quick. He also gets crushing blows for punishing attacks or getting counter hits, so he's definitely a very footsie based character. However, once again, if you wanted to go for the combos, you had to use his gutted move, and honestly, once you have this move equipped, Baraka becomes one of the best combo characters in the game, especially in the corner. He can combo off of pretty much any hit. However, you don't really have any mix-ups available to you, and that was my biggest issue with Baraka until I added the leg cutter. So with the leg cutter, he gets a low hitting special move, and this becomes very useful because a lot of Baraka's attack strings will end with an overhead. And if your opponent knows this, they'll stand up to block it, only to get caught by your low-hitting leg cutter. Now of course this leg cutter does not lead to a full combo, so there are no true 50-50 ways to start off combos, but it does do some pretty good damage to the opponent and some damage over time as well. And then if you enhance it, you also get the knockdown and some more damage. However, you can't use both because they're actually the same input. And then he has one more attack that takes up 2 slots, and that's his flying command grab. I like this move a lot for mix-ups. It didn't seem as good on block strings as I would have preferred. You can't always do it after a certain mix-up string because the opponent is still in block stun, so the command grab will not work. And it's also a high hitting command grab, so the opponent could duck and then avoid it completely. However, if you do it in the neutral, it looks just like his flying overhead, so the opponent's going to naturally stand up to try and block that overhead, and then of course the command grab's going to catch him. Now both the command grab and gutted cost 2 slots, so you can never have both equipped, and I'm not sure if leg cutter costs 2 slots or not, but you can't have it along with his combo extender, which is gutted. So once again, when playing Baraka, you have to choose if you want mix-ups or if you want combos. And Baraka also had this flag variation you could do with 3 different flag attacks, which gives him a damage buff and a mix-up here and there. He gets a low attack, and he also gets a running charge attack, which is a lot of fun because it has armor. And it's funny to see a lot of players not know about that. They'll jump backwards and try to kick you as you run in, and of course you absorb the hit and then just knock him down. And if you hit him with the charge, he actually replants the flag, and as long as that flag is out, he gets a damage buff. If you use that flag to do a low attack, it actually gets rid of the flag, but it does pretty good damage and causes a knockdown. And of course the armored charge attack also blows through projectiles as well, but it's not very fast, so I think a certain player like Scarlet could actually throw a projectile, you armor through it, and she still has time to block. So unfortunately, it's not the best tool for punishing keep away, but at a certain distance it is very good at that. However, even so, I don't see the flag variation being very good, at least not in a competitive sense. However, I do think Baraka has solid mix-ups with leg cutter and some really good combos with gutted, so I definitely do think he's a good character. His projectile is also godlike, by the way. His projectile is very fast, you can't even really jump over it on reaction, at least not jumping forward. And then if he enhances it, it's almost impossible to jump over both projectiles. You're almost always guaranteed to fall on one of them, not every time. You actually can jump over it perfectly, but once again, it's very hard to actually react to that projectile. So whenever I did jump over both, it kind of just felt like a good read. I didn't actually react. So I guess what I'm saying is Baraka is very, very good, but you have to commit to either the mix-ups or the combos. And then last but certainly not least, we have Scorpion. Now Scorpion felt like Subway. You could mix and match whatever you want to. He was like Burger King, have it your way. You could basically mix and match whatever abilities you wanted to, and on top of that, Scorpion has a very good toolkit by default. He has some really good mix-ups. However, if you block them correctly, he's very punishable. And I honestly really do like that, because if you block the mix-up, it's now his turn to eat a full combo. However, you can kind of minimalize this if you use Misery Blade. Now I played Misery Blade for the last part of the beta, and I was surprised how much I liked it. I initially didn't even want to play the variation, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. So this variation allows you to cancel a lot of his unsafe strings into mix-ups, and then if you get the hit, it's a combo anyway. Now it won't lead to a full combo, but it does knock the opponent down. You have the low or the overhead, and then you have a mid, which is very, very quick. In fact, the mid can actually make a lot of his mix-ups feel safe, because by the time the opponent realizes you've cancelled the string, they try to punish you, and you can actually hit them out of it real quick. So the Misery Blade definitely made Scorpion feel very powerful, and then he had this Flame Breath move, which I didn't get to use enough of, but this made pretty much a lot of his stuff safe. It's not technically safe. Characters like Baraka have enough range to punish it, but characters like Scarlet had nothing. Especially if he meter burns it, you just can't punish anything he does with that. So that customization felt very good for keeping yourself safe. Scorpion also had the air throw, and he had the neutral punch that actually did knock the opponent off the ground. It would ground bounce them for a short combo. So Scorpion basically had everything you want in a character. He was definitely the most fun to play in this beta out the gate because he had so many good mix-ups. However, once you fought players who knew what he had, he was just very easy to punish. It was Punish City. And that's basically it for my thoughts on the Mortal Kombat 11 stress test. Once again, the online felt very good. The gameplay was a lot of fun, I love the meter system, and all three characters felt good, but for different reasons. Scarlet was a very good zoner, but her creativity wasn't really there when it came to her abilities. Baraka let you pick between different playstyles, and all of them felt very, very good. You just couldn't combine them in any sort of way. And then for Scorpion, he had the most mix-ups, but he was very punishable, and it also felt like he had the most customization options. And that's about it for my thoughts, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton. And while you're down there, please tell me your thoughts about the Mortal Kombat 11 stress test. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please tell me why down below. And then finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.